Okay, so we're going to do another one of these. I figured this would be really helpful. But here's what we're going to make, this thing, whatever that thing is. And it looks like the front view is an L shape. So that's actually what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with this L shape here, this thing. So hopefully you can kind of see that. And I'm just going to start with this vertical line here, go 50 up, okay? So I'm going to go to Start New Sketch, and I'm going to do this in the XY plane since that's the front view. And I'm going to start sketching with a line. So I'm on the XY plane, and so I'm going to do 50. So that extrudes the object up 50. Okay. So if I click front view, you should be able to see that line now, kind of just sitting up there with its dimension line. And so the next thing I've got to do is I've got to do this piece here, this 20, length of 20. So I'm going to head back to Autodesk. So I've got 20 inches this direction. And then head back. Now I'm going to do this piece right here, but I don't have a dimension for that yet. But I noticed that over here this is 50, so this length is 50, and then over here this length is 20. So 50 minus 20, that tells me that this measurement has to be 30. So I'm going to do that. So 30 down. So I need a 90-degree angle, 30 down, done. And then I need a distance of 100, but I've already got 20 of that, so 100 minus 20. I need to take this 90-degree angle, this line, to a 90-degree angle, and then 80. So we're starting to get that object. And so I know this distance has to be 20, and hopefully that distance is 100, and it is, so we're good. So the next thing I've got to do is extrude this object out, okay? So I need to know what distance to extrude it out. So if you take a look here, it tells me that this whole distance is 120. So whenever I extrude it back, I've got to extrude it back for a total of 120. So I can start to do that. So let's head back over to Autodesk. I'm going to go to 3D Model, Extrude. And for some reason, this computer's not letting me look at my display, which would be easier whenever I'm flipping through things. So you're not going to see the dialog box for properties, but hopefully you should be able to understand how to do that. So you've got direction can flip. This is a dialog box that's appearing for me, but not for you. And I'm going to flip it that direction, press OK. So what I've got here is just a basis for this object. I've got to start adding in the details, which isn't going to be too difficult. So it's my free choice of where to start. I'm actually going to start with the top view and start to make changes to what I see. So the first things I'm seeing here is the cutaway piece. So I know I have to do a 60 by what? Looks like 15. Yeah. So I'm going to do... Okay, so this distance is 30, so that's going to be 15. Yeah. So I'm going to go... sorry. This distance is 30, right? So this distance would be 15. So from here to here is 15. And from here to here is 15. So I'm going to put the center of the circle 30 in. But first, I want to cut this piece away. So I'm going to go 30 in. And then cut this piece out. Maybe I should just bevel it first. Is it telling me that thickness anywhere? It tells me that, okay, here, right here, it tells me this thickness is 20. Okay, so if that thickness is 20, yeah, so the entire thing is 120 long. This tells me the thickness of this piece. So let me make sure. It's 70 in, that's what it is. Okay, 70 is what I need to look at. So from here to here is 70, and then up 30. Okay. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. 70 and then 30. So if I take a look at this, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a sketch of a circle on this piece. And it needs to be from here. I'm just going to draw it arbitrarily. From here to here, it's saying this is 70. So I'm going to make that exactly 70. And then it's also saying from here, no, back. So make sure that it's set at 70. From here to here, it's going to be 30. In the center of that circle, see if I can select the center of that circle. Center of that circle to here should be 30. Yeah. And I need to replicate that on the other side, so 15. Is that 15? See, I just don't know what this is. It seems like it's 15, but if I go back, it seems like it's a little larger. Oh well. And so I know I need to get this dimension to be 70. So that's good. Check. And this dimension from here to here better be 30. So that's looking a little better. And then what I'm going to do is draw some lines here. From here to there. And then there to there. So that's the sketch I want. And let's look at it from a top view and kind of cut this away. So I'm going to cut and extrude this piece, but I don't want it to extrude outward like that. I want it to extrude inward and cut. So that's this distance I think we said was 20. Make sure that it cut all the way through, and it did. And I want to go back actually to where I cut that, because I want to cut this piece, and this piece, this circular piece. But instead of cutting outward, I need to cut inwards. So a distance of 20, so if I take a look at the back of that, it cut through the project, and that's looking good. So I'm going to press OK. And so look at this top view, and then front view. There we go. There's the view that I want. Okay, so now I'm going to bevel some of this stuff here. I need to bevel 30. Need to have a bevel of 30 there. So what I'm going to do is head back to Autodesk, and I'm going to use the 3D model tool and the fillet tool. So I need to bevel this to 30 like it said to, and then over here I'm going to bevel this one to 30. So that can be done with the fillet tool. Let's take a look at that, see if that looks right. It looks a little small. And that's what's a little confusing, is trying to figure out what it's trying to say with these RX15s. And perhaps it meant radius. So that would mean I have a diameter of 30. Okay? So maybe the radius is 30. So if I head back over here, let's try and make those a little bigger. So start new sketch on this face. And let's see if we can center it. There we go. And instead of that, let's do 30. See what that looks like. That's looking a little more accurate, actually. So and then what we'll do is 3D model, extrude, and I need to cut. So I'm going to cut this piece downward, that piece downward, and that piece downward. And that should do it, yeah. And what you've got there is exactly what we've got here, this piece. So I'm kind of done with the front piece now. There's not much else I can do with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the next piece. So I need to start on this part of the project. So it looks like 12 here. It's 20 in and 30 up is what it is. So 30 and then 12 across. So let's go back to Autodesk. So now I've got to go to the front view. Oop, it's disorienting. Okay, so here we go. So that's what I want. And I'm just going to take a look at that piece. I need to cut away these circles here. So that's going to be a diameter of 12. It's 30 up and then 30 in from either, no, 20 in from either side. So we can do that. So I'm going to create a circle on this face. And it's going to be 12, I think it said. And now I just have to dimension. So what I'm going to do to dimension it, oh, you didn't even see that. Sorry, my bad. So let me go back, redo that. So I'm going to create a circle of radius 12 right on that face. That's what I'm going to do. And then I've got to dimension it to where this piece is, let's see what that is. It says it's going to be 20. Okay. So I'm going to make that 20. So I did that. And then the next thing I've got to do is dimension from there to here, which is actually 10, because you can see that this is 30 up and this is 20 of a height. So it's going to be 10 there. So This distance needs to be 10. And I'm just going to replicate this on the other side. So I'm going to do a circle of radius 12. And I'm going to dimension from there to there, 20. Then from here to there, it's 10. And then I create a line. Do it from there to there. And then from there, and I need it to be tangent at a 20 degree. All right. So from here, we're going to extrude outward. We're going to extrude it. Go in. Extrude there. And extrude there. And what that's going to do is just cut into the project. And that looks right, so I'm going to press OK. And that looks good. That looks great. That's just my favorite thing. And then right here, I've got a bevel of RX20, okay, R of 20. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the fillet tool to make that bevel. I'm going to go look at this thing. Hello. And make sure OBS is on it, and it is. We're good. So then fillet. So I need a 3D model fillet though. And it says select edges. I need this edge and this edge. And it's going to be 20. So instead of 30, I'll make it 20. And there it is. And let's see if that looks kind of like our front view. So there's mine, and then there's the original. So right here. Right there. Compare it to that. And so really, you're just kind of replicating exactly what they've got there using the tools available. And so if I take a look at this isometric view, shows the top, the front, and the side at 120 degree angles. It's really, really stinking close to that. I think it's pretty much the same. I think I did that right. So the next thing you want to be able to replicate is being able to dimension all this stuff. So I'm going to show you how to start that. You can actually do that with this part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, New, and it's going to pop up this dialog box which you can't see. So I'm going to go to standard.idw. So once I click on that, you're going to get a file that looks like, well, this. So once I'm here, I'm going to press base. And it's going to say, is it the project that you're doing now? And I'm going to say yes, save, okay. And it's going to create that as a base. And then I'm going to press OK. So what that does is it creates that part that we just had there. And there's some things that I'm going to have to put in, like hidden lines and that kind of thing. We'll get to that eventually, but first thing you want to do is create the rest of the multi-view sketch. So you're going to go to Projected. So you click Projected, and what it's going to do is it's going to take different parts of the project and project them. So here's my projected view of the top, here's my projected view of the front, and then there's the isometric sketch. And when I press, if I click on the, if I right click and press Create, it's going to create all of that. And so you can start to dimension this and then formally draft all of this stuff just with what you have available, okay? And that's kind of what you want to do here. So I hope that helps.